Welcome back to Roddy's Rides, y'all. First off, I want to start off this video saying, remember, at the end of December, I guess January 1st, I'll say, New Year's, if I could get 569 subscribers, I'm going to shave my head. So if you haven't already, go down and subscribe. And only like 18% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed. So please take the time. It doesn't take long. Go down there, click the big red button, and help me out. Before we jump straight into this video, I also want to say, I have two good friends. My grand big in the fraternity just got, well, he proposed last night. So I want to say congratulations, man. Have fun with that next step in life, and I'm excited to see where you guys go. Jumping into this video, I want to be talking about what mods should you do to your S197 Mustang and which ones are worth the money. So I think all car enthusiasts can agree with me. One of the first things that any potential new person to the car community should do to their vehicle would be adding an exhaust. Not only does adding an exhaust add horsepower, but it also gives you that exciting thrill of putting your foot down to the metal and hearing your car, having all the mechanical, beautiful sounds of an orchestra of what Ford or any car manufacturer has designed today. And the exhaust will just make driving a whole different experience. It'll change the whole perspective of the car. So first thing, I would definitely swap the exhaust. Second next thing I would say is definitely suspension. So starting off on this car, I ended up starting off with SR lowering springs, and honestly, I absolutely love them. They're great. It lowered the appearance of my car, so it made it look low, but it wasn't slammed, if you know what I mean. And it was really nice because I could go over almost all the speed bumps besides that are ridiculous, like Texas side speed bumps. So besides that, lowering springs, highly recommend. I actually ended up going to SVE coilovers for a little bit, got a stupid deal on them, and loved the coilovers. Honestly, I feel like coilovers are even better than my air suspension. I feel like a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but I feel like the coilovers were a lot more predictable. I knew where the car was going, and yeah, where the bags, I almost feel like there's a gap in between. I'm like, will the car do this, or is it going to act the way I want it to, or so on and so forth. And so with either a V6 Mustang 5.0 or even like a 370 or 350, the thing is for all the 310 horsepower ponies that you're putting down, if you have good suspension, it'll make it a lot easier to be feeling the power gains from it, putting the power from the motor to the ground, if that makes sense. So definitely I would say the next thing would definitely be suspension. Doesn't matter if it's coils, springs, bags, whatever. Highly recommend it. So the next thing on this list that I want to talk about is a cold air intake. So this is kind of like a double whammy. So if you got a cold air intake, there's lots of kits out there for the V6 Mustangs or 5.0 or GT500s where you can get a cold air intake and a tune all in one bundle. Depending on what brand and cold air intake type that you go with, that's where the price will vary. But for a cheap power adder, highly recommend a cold air intake. Don't just swap the filter. Do yourself the favor, buy an actual kit for your car, and it will have significant gains that you will feel in the passenger seat, driver's seat. What am I saying? So for the longest time, I actually was not, it's really dark in here, but I was not running a cold air intake. And the reason why I wasn't going to do that is because I knew I wanted to run a boosted application. So on my last Mustang though, if you guys are interested also, leave down in the comments if you guys wanted to see some videos or maybe a short little video on my previous Mustang before this. But I actually had a 2006 Mustang. It was the 4.0, the 4-point slow. It was the Explorer motor, and good God, I spent all my money into just performance, just to see maybe if I could hit that 290 horsepower mark. I never got it dynoed, I never went that far with it. It was just a great first car, and I beat the living hell out of it. The next thing I want to talk about is, so the cold air intake tune, this is basically full bolt-on your car. Call yourself a street menace, and you're tearing up some asphalt. So this kind of goes on to the next step. This goes for any car too. So after adding your cold air intake, your tune, and your exhaust, you're already having more performance and all this. One of the most important things, yes, everyone loves going fast, but the next thing is having the ability to stop. So with you increasing your horsepower, potentially getting more risky scenarios, you definitely want to be able to make sure you know you can stop and make it back home to the people that you love. So for the base model V6s and base model 5.0s, I actually bought these Brimbos off eBay. I want to say for like 300 bucks, spray painted it myself, clear coated it myself, and threw on a Brembo sticker or a high temp sticker off Amazon. You can see where my wheel scraped on the Brembo from me putting it on and off so many times. I definitely need to repaint that eventually. Being able to stop is an incredible thing because It's all fun and games until you find that end of the road, right? Highly recommend upgrading to Brembos. It's a great swap. It catches people's eye, and I don't know, it changes the appearance of the stock small brakes. And please, please, for the love of God, do not buy the brake caliper covers. Like, they're not cool. Like maybe in the 90s, but not now. But please, please do yourself a favor, save the extra 20 bucks and maybe buy some seafoam and clean out those injectors. Also, you can buy, I want to say, so these are 4-piston rotors that are Brembos for the GTs, but you can also buy the 2015 and up performance pack. I want to say there's 6-piston Brembos up front, and you need a certain spacer of a washer, but that's all you need for the bolt. So you might need a little bit longer of a bolt, a certain size washer, and something else to bolt up the newer Brembos to it. Honestly, I'd love to do the swap later down the road, but right now, I'm not going for 1,000 horsepower and I don't need crazy brakes, and these work beautifully. So given that, if I can find the link or the video on someone swapping it, I'll put it down in the description. So this is mostly going to wrap up the video for anyone who's just looking for what mods or what they should buy to go onto their project car or their daily driver, whatever your position is. One thing how I want to end off this video is, so if you do have a 3.7 or even a 5.0, this is obviously the no-brainer, but I did not want to put this in the list because this is not really of a fair of an example. But if you have the chance to supercharge or turbocharge your car, it is obviously the biggest improvement and biggest power gain. I know this is almost sounds stupid to say, but ever since I added this supercharger on my car, it changed the whole driving experience, just by the noises, the instant power that just hits you in the gut, and it just pulls. Like, I'm not saying I got bored of the V6 application, but for some background knowledge, I had a 93 tune on it. It was an MPT tune, but it wasn't like a performance tune. It was just one that was free off their website, and I downloaded it just so I could get a little bit better gas mileage. I had no issues with it, but I'm telling you, the second that I actually got this car for like a performance tune and a boosted tune, or just boosting my car, huge difference. Highly recommend it. Honestly, if you're debating about going bags or pro charging or supercharging or turbo your car, highly recommend boost. The bags are really cool, but I almost would say not even on a daily driver. I love my bags. The only problem is now if I'm like, say if I'm about to run up to Mickey D's or something because I have a test tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I haven't studied for and I need a coffee and a McHappy, or not a McHappy, you know what I'm saying. Either way, I have to run to my car, I have to air up, wait for the compressor, drive, oh, there's a big ramp that I have to get up, air up, go up. It's just one more extra thing that you have to be like paying attention and doing that. So that's not really me being nitpicky, but I recommend if you have the choice between them, go supercharger or boosted application. I also want to include this too after buying brakes. So honestly, before I would say you go going out of your way to upgrade your brakes, I think everyone should do that. But the next thing I would also say is upgrading your wheels and tires. So now you have full bolt-ons, you got to tune, your car's running great, you have brand new Brembos so your car's stopping great too. And also whenever you start up your car in the morning and go to drive, you have the big brake squeal. I mean, some people hate it. I used to hate it, but now that I got big brakes, I mean, you can brag about it, you know what I mean? But the last thing I want to add to this list is definitely a wheel and tire setup. So it doesn't mean you have to have an aftermarket wheel, but depending on what size stock wheels you have, it's usually better fit to swap them so you can fit either a bigger tire or just for looks mostly. By having a different tire with a different compound, depending on what your car came with from the dealership, will obviously help you hook up on the street, put that power to the ground, and then be maximizing what your setup is capable of. Of course, you also have to include driver's mod and potholes and gravel and all this, but tires will make your life change. So by having an aftermarket wheel and tire setup, you're able to adjust your sizes on your wheels for better handling, performance, and even potentially not spinning the tires as much, because having a good launch means everything in a drag race. Having a good 60 foot is going to put you out farther than your opponent, and maybe sometimes all you need is that little jump to get out past them because they might be reeling you in. So it's all about how your car is set up and how you built it to handle. If you found any part of this video helpful or interesting in any way, go down, drop a like on the video, subscribe please if you haven't already, and remember, I'll shave my head at 569 subscribers by the end of December. So please go ahead, go down, subscribe, help me out, and I think this will conclude this video. You guys have a great one. Roddy Rides is out of here.